The cold mountain air tore through the mage Byzas' robe. Battling the elements, he found sanctuary in an empty building. He soon kindled a fire and sat staring into the flames, alone with his thoughts. He had seen many wondrous things in his life, but at times like these, his thoughts always slid back to his childhood on his home world of Isfar. Byzas had grown up in the small village of Tamil on a trade crossroad between the great kingdoms of Isfar. Byzas had been an intelligent, curious lad. He had discovered an ancient tome on the cart of a traveling scribe who had given it to the boy with a sly wink. The book was filled with arcane secrets and the keys to unlocking the powers of magic. The art of magic was forbidden in Tamil, yet Byzas could not resist the lure of it. The book called to something in his blood, and he was helpless to resist. One evening, while he was studying secretly in the cellar of his family's home, his uncle Byzas walked in on him, catching him with the forbidden book. Byzas was incensed at his nephew's study of forbidden lore and threatened to have the boy exiled or killed. Byzas pleaded with the old man, promising to never have anything to do with magic again, as long as his parents were never told of what he'd been doing. Finally, Byzas relented and agreed to hold his tongue on the condition that Byzas left the study of magic forever. The years passed and Byzas grew to manhood, taking his place as a herdsman for the family livestock. He had managed to control his yearning for magic, and his secret remained his own. As he returned weary from the fields one night, his father Obeth staggered into the house, grievously wounded. A mountain lion had attacked the herd and had savaged Obeth before being driven away. Obeth sagged to the floor of his home, and Byzas' mother fell to her knees, beseeching heaven to save her dying husband. Faced with the horror of his dying father, Byzas acted without thinking. He tapped magical powers long left dormant and channeled the energy into healing sorceries. His power had grown as he had, and spells that had barely worked when he was a boy now sang with magical energies. His mother stood, aghast at her son's actions. Even as Obeth's wounds closed, Byzas' mother began hysterically screaming at her son, claiming that it would be better that her husband had died a clean death than be tainted with foul magics. Soon word had spread throughout Tamil, and a mob confronted Byzas in the market square. Curses and threats were flung, and Byzas flinched away from the harsh words of those who were his neighbors, his family. The loudest voice damning him was that of his mother. Fearing for his life, Byzas cast the most powerful spell he had ever read about, a spell that transported the caster from place to place. With the cries of the mob ringing in his ears, Byzas left his home forever. He awoke under a strange sky. Byzas found himself unclothed and lying on soft grass, his hair turned white by the trauma of his passage. He stood and soon found some discarded rags which he gratefully donned to ward off the night's chill. Confused and lost, Byzas set off in search of civilization. His wanderings were interrupted when, with a blood-chilling snarl, something monstrous sprung out at him. Trying to fend off the creature was impossible, and Byzas fled, yelling for help. His panicked yelling was heard by Crow, an itinerant mage and bandit, who immediately dispatched the beast with magic. The young man thanked his savior and explained how he had come to be so deep in the woods. Crow considered the tale and deduced that the same portal magic that had brought him to Dereth had warped the young man's efforts, leaving him alone on a strange world. Soothing the frightened and confused Byzas, Crow explained that he was on the Isle of Dereth, a magical exile who must now live by his wits and cunning. He invited the young mage to become part of his bandit troupe, promising warmth, food, and lessons in the art of magic. Byzas, hungry and cold, readily agreed and swore his loyalty to Crow, a path that would lead him to the mastery of magic and glory in the Rune God.